fine.
Hey, Angelic, how are
But
you? Oh, look at those figures on the wall. Nicely hung. Look at that fucking Clerks 2 box set. You
I
got
have
it all.
so much of you
Oh
in
my.
my house. It's scary. And most of the stuff I just have to validate. It's signed by you. Because I'm cheap and you don't come to Sacramento at all, shall I say.
I don't? When's the last
No,
time I was there? I think, were we there with Reboot? I remember being there within the last,
I think so. I think it was the reboot tour in 2019. And you were here that one time, but that one time I didn't see you, so I want to redeem myself this time and have something up here signed by you.
So none of them are signed?
I think most of them are. I know the older yet not so wiser Kev is signed. I think. Yeah, that one's
If
signed.
if only you didn't live in an entirely different state from me.
I know. It sucks. Let me tell you, because I seen all of the movies pop ups, and I was like, damn, is he gonna bring one here? And then you never got one here, and I was just like, what is so wrong with us?
It's state capital, not wrong at all. Yeah, we haven't gotten up there yet.
Yeah, I think you should. It would be good for pretty much everyone here because little backstory. I've been watching your movie since I was 6 years old with my brother. And
what kind of terrible parents allowed you to watch?
My mom, basically, we had to share a room at some point, and he introduced me to the Clerks animated series, and I was like, I love this, and then we saw Clerks 2. He bought it the day of its release, and we watched it. Then when it got to the donkey scene, it got real awkward real quick. Since then, I've been following you since, and it's amazing that I finally get to talk to you now. This
is beautiful, man. Thank you for that. I love when I hear the stories about like I was something shared with another family member, with a fucking sibling, with a parent, or something like that. Because I did so much of that with my old man, like watching things, and it like there are things that I like today because he liked them, and there's this now that he's gone, that's a bond that I'll still always have with him.
Yeah.
Look at all that shit. My God, your place looks like my place. A bunch of DSQ stuff.
It took a while. Believe it or not, it didn't take that long. It took, let's see, I started in October, and it's grown since then. And how I started was I got so stoned one day. I was like, I want to watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And I didn't have it on DVD, and it's usually, for me, it's hard to find on digital. So I ordered it on eBay, and I watched it continuously. And then I was just like, hell, it might be fun to collect this stuff. So I started, and it's grown, and I've even had to order from the stash a few times. It's gotten big, and it's still growing.
You rock, man. Oh my God. Back in the day, I used to say to folks like you, oh my God, you're putting my kid through college one day, but she never went to college. So you're just giving me money. Thank you for that.
But
what do you do?
Right now I work in retail.
Fucking A, right on, man. I know. Yeah. That's my world, for heaven's sakes.
But if you ever need an extra for a movie, I'm available as well.
We shoot. Normally we shoot out here. The last one we actually shot back east, but this normally when we shoot it's out here. So it's a distinct possibility, Angelic.
Oh,
it ain't just fucking sunshine blowing up your ass. It's like Stranger Things. Kevin Conroy was just here in the house. He was just a guy that like gave me a shirt. So
yeah. I mean, I've
always get into those Kevin Smith pictures. That's a low bar. Like if you said to me like, I want to get in a Quentin Tarantino picture, I'm like, fucking get in line. Good luck. But
my life goal was to be in a Kevin Smith movie, and I know that might sound corny.
I could make that come true.
I know that might sound corny, but like having watched all of your movies and seeing all of the Easter eggs and how your mind works, I've always wanted you to like put me in that state. And like, what would you do with me as a person in one of your movies? like, because you're fucking genius. And I just have to say that you're a fucking genius with
You're
everything that you come out with. And I've always wondered, like, how do I get into the mind of Kevin Smith? Like, with art or like with movies or like with music. Like, how do you do what you do? And so effortlessly.
it's you're so sweet. It is. It's very self-serving and myopic. Like basically, you just make things that you wish existed, right? Like, I wish people spoke this way. So that's the dialogue I'm gonna write. And I remember like when we did Zach and Miri, like Seth Rogen was just like, I love like the way that you do dialogue, but people don't do that anymore. Now it's more naturalistic. And for years I was like, oh man, but then I just kind of kept doing my thing, and I'm glad I did because it's it's me. It's the
Yeah.
only thing that makes one of the only things makes me like stand out from anything else. So it's there's no like magic, and it's not brilliant. It's just self-expression at any cost. And I got lucky enough to do it enough where something or another connected with somebody.
Yeah.
But it's not. You're very kind to say like that I'm smart, but I'm not. I'm just, if anything, I'm clever. But I'm. It's. I mean, maybe selfish. It's self-interested. Like I'm as much as like I see all the Kevin Smith stuff you have. Look at all mine. I'm a way bigger fucking Kevin Smith. So like I just kind of work along those lines, and then like at a certain point, like in the beginning, it all happens so quick, and you're moving forward, and then like like Mallrats happened, then Mallrats tanked, and we had like set up Chasing Amy, and like you're constantly moving forward. And it wasn't for like 10 years that I didn't stop and look back and be like, Jesus, like we've already done a lot. So a lot of that you've seen is not brilliance, it's desperation. It's somebody who's just like, I don't want to leave this party. And if I and by party at first it was the business, and then after the heart attack, the party was like life. So at the end of the day, I feel like I'm like, all right, I got this much time and this much to express and this much time to express it in. And I used to be scared of like, what if they don't like it? Now I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like some people will, some people won't. Like I've been through the absolute worst of it all. I remember when Yoga Hosers was feeling real bad, where I'm like, nobody fucking likes this. Everyone says I'm an idiot. And then I totally like hit this beat where I was like, wait a second, you've been here before. And it was the exact same fucking thing as Mallrats. Mallrats came out, same fucking thing. Everyone hated it and everyone said I was an idiot. So then you go like, oh shit, like it works out. Like even if in the moment people are like, you suck, you fail. As long as you get time added onto it, it kind of works out because at least that thing is out there that you wanted to say and you took the chance, and in the moment you got beat up for it. But then, like, you bought James on Bob Strike Back and watched this like a 20-year-old movie, and still you're able to find something in it. So for me, it's like self-interest and desperation is what makes the formula of Kevin Smith. And I don't know that it's I used to be grapple with like, is this art or not? Like I would never like take the title of artist. Like I was like, oh, I'm not an artist. But I think that is art. Like I think it is incredibly individualized. I'm happy with my career for many reasons, but one of them is that I'm like, nobody's ever going to try to replicate this shit. Like it won't be replicated. Like nobody will ever choose like to do the dopey ass career I've had. So it's so uniquely fucking mine. And like I don't know, at a certain point that became enough. Like it used to be like, well, everyone's gotta love it. And I'm like, you gotta love it. And hopefully a bunch of people love it, but I'm old enough now, wise enough to know that some won't, and they'll never join the party. So it's like, just do your thing and fucking meet people like you who like when you catch up to, you catch up to it in fucking childhood through the cartoons. And then later in life, it becomes something that like, you're like, I'm gonna start collecting this shit. You know, it takes, sometimes it takes that long a time. I don't have the luxury of like when you make a Marvel movie, you got like that first month to make $1 billion. Otherwise, you fucking fail. They got to get the whole fucking world right then in that first month, preferably the first week. My shit, I learned early on that it's just like you just float that boat and it'll find the audience. The audience will find it. It's not a sense of immediacy. Like we got to beat a fucking clock. It's people will find it when they do, and when they do, it's delightful. I'm a fucking 50. How old are you?
I'm 20.
51-year-old man talking to a 20-year-old woman about like fucking movies I made 30 years ago almost. It's thrilling. But that only happens because I did the exact thing I wanted to do, better or for worse. I wasn't thinking about like hammer this shit off so that fucking the people in this place will like it, or lose this, these people will like it. So it's easy. It's not a difficult thing to get into, man. All you have to do is be incredibly self-involved and think you're like very interesting enough that people want to hear what's on your fucking mind, and then be scared that you're not going to have enough time or ever be heard. Period. I think that was always my biggest fear in life. Was like, what if I wasn't heard? What if nobody hears me? And that one I ameliorated a long time ago, and I still, obviously, I still engage with it because it means the world to me. More than the money. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the money. I'm not a capitalist because it makes my life easier, and as much as I don't have to like get a real backbreaking job. But like the hearing you talk about like I watched that movie and then I realized, oh, I'm gonna start buying this stuff. Or hearing that like you and your brother watched it together, or people who are like my dad passed this on to we watched your shit together. Like that's what makes it now. In the beginning, it was all about self satisfaction, and it still is. Don't get me wrong. I want to tell the stories I want to tell because they make me feel good. But I realize it ain't about me anymore, just me. It's like people see these and like take them to heart eons after they were made. When I made fucking Clerks, I did not conceive of you. Like a 20, somebody who like is way younger than me who would find this movie like a fucking relic in the sand years later and still somehow find merit to it. Like that is never ending mind bending to me. I didn't think of that. So at a certain point, I just I realized like I got it. Sounds stupid. It's very reductive, and I could have made this answer so short. But I got if I do me, I got a better chance of people taking me into their heads and hearts than if you just do standard entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it's doable. It ain't a secret formula, Angelic. I promise you. It's fucking. It's. I mean, for lack of a better description, arrogance and fear mashed together. And and it helps if you like this kind. Like, I wasn't. It's not like I had arrogance in regards to something physical, right? Like it's not. I can't feel this way about sports, but about like making entertainment and fucking making up stories and shit. I felt like I could do that. I'm pretty sure I could do that. I remember seeing Slacker, and I was like, as much as I loved the movie, I was like, this counts as a movie because fuck, I think I could make a movie if this counts. So there's a bit of arrogance always at the seat of it. I always said that I saw Slacker and viewed it with a mixture of awe and arrogance. Awe because I'd never seen anything like it before, and then arrogance because I was like, I think I could do that too. So if you connect with these movies, and obviously you do, it's also because there's a sense of you're like, oh my god, I could do this too. There's a DIY self-made quality to it. Like my filmmaking it's not like it don't belong on the IMDb. It belongs on Etsy. Because it's just like it's made of yarn and fucking it's crafted, and there's some people who are like I fucking love it, and then there's some people like I'd rather buy a thing at Target. And I always felt like my shit was more Etsy than anything else, if that makes sense.
It does, and I also had which was my original question. So on the back of the Chasing Amy and action figures, it teases for Clerks 2 and action figures. Do you still plan on dropping those, or do you have a better promotion for Clerks 3?
Right now, I mean, Bob Chapman at Graffiti Designs, who we made the figures with, all the in-action figures, we had made the protos of the Clerks 2 line because there are pictures of them and stuff. And I think I had the Keegan Kelly and the Sexy Stuff, but I'm pretty sure I gave that to Zach Knudsen because he's the guy that played the Sexy Stuff. I think we've got the Jen figure, but I don't have the protos he does. But at a certain point, we just stopped making them because it didn't seem like financially viable. By the time we were going to make those Clerks 2 and action figures, it was like 3-4 years after the movie. And so Bob was like, I don't know if that makes sense anymore. That all being said, there's a chance now that we can fucking those figures and actually make the Clerks 2 figures, because in order to make the protos, I think they cooled it, which means the metal parts, which is the mold, that's the most expensive. But you got to remember, when we first started doing those figures, that was literally, like, in some cases, almost 20 years ago. And the ability to make a thing has been incredibly industrialized to the point where it's not as complicated as it used to be. Now there are, supply issues, pipeline issues because of the pandemic and the criminally low amount of truckers or something like that. But you can make those figures for a lot less than we were making them 10, 15 years ago. So the short answer is, it is something that I brought up recently where I was like, we can totally make those Clerks 2 figures now.
I mean, they're a staple. Like, I love all of these action figures, especially yours, because yours has, I'm pretty sure you already know this, has a cigarette in his hand in each one.
Yes.
So I thought that was clever, and I love how all of them, like, they look exactly like the person. Like, Jay's has a facial expression, Jen's, it literally looks like Jen. That's kind of what gravitated me towards them.
That's awesome.
I have a shit ton now, and absolutely know where to put anymore. But if there ever comes a time where you do release those, I can send you my email address just so I can be.
You're number one on the Clerks 2 in action list, Angelic. Trust me, if we do make them, my promise to you is somewhere on the card, blister card, it's going to say, all thanks to Angelic, because you were the one that brought it up. And it will be probably one of the next things I bring up to Jordan, where I'm like, we were just doing the chat at the AKA, and Angelique brought up the fact that Clerks 2 figures aren't done, because we've just been having internal discussions about what to do next year. We've got product in the pipeline for like the first 8 months of this year, like new cool things. But also we're like, now with the club, we're trying to figure out cool exclusives to do too. So perhaps the Clerks 2 figures, perhaps there's a way to do them like incredibly small run.
Yeah, like limited supply, maybe.
Yeah, for the club, like as a club premium.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Man. The wheels are turning.
If you ever need any ideas, I can bounce them off of you, because I mention you on Twitter quite a lot, and I have you on Instagram, I think, but I don't think I've ever messaged you directly, because I was always scared, like, you might think this question is stupid, or he might not reply to this.
You could message me, but I never check messages. This is going to be showing my age, but I periodically ask Jordan. I was like, how do I find messages again? I never check the messages because I don't know where they are. So I read like the main feed and I read the comments and stuff. So you better chance of catching me there. But best chance of catching me is right here through the club, man. You guys are a very finite number, man. So it's like, that's the easiest place to stand out in the world. Plus, you could literally just hit up Will directly and be like, hey man, it's Angelique. Remember, I talked to Kevin, he said blah, blah, blah. They'll put us in touch. But getting you into a Kevin Smith movie is like the easiest thing. That's easier than making Clerks 2 and action figures, I'll be honest with you. So next time we're shooting something, raise your hand. No bullshit. And I'll be like, oh my God, come down, we'll throw you into a thing. That's how fucking Kevin got into fucking Clerks 3 and stuff. So that's doable, man. Like, in terms of dreams, that's achievable as fuck.
I mean, you will be making my childhood dream come true, and I'm just really thankful for that, because there was a time where I was like, he makes some pretty interesting characters. I wonder what he would do with me and my brother, because my brother is just like us. Like he's a stoner and he's like not opinionated, but like he's intuitive and
Right.
he loves film and he loves art, just and anything that has to do with it. So I always thought, like, what would it be like if we were in one of those movies? And
Did
it,
you just get a cameo for your brother as well? Is that what's happening here?
I did. I plugged my brother.
Her for representation, man. She'll
well
get
done. Well done. My God, look at you, man. You not only you're gonna earn your money, you're gonna earn 10% of his by getting the job. That's a good sister. He brought you into the cartoons. If you got into the movie, you would have to bring him with you. And
I will.
if you are gonna be in the flick, you can absolutely bring him with you. I don't know when we're shooting next because I honestly don't know what the next thing's gonna be. However, it could be this thing that would be perfect based on the number of times you mentioned weed.
as Jordan loves the mute button.
Yeah, Jordan's like, shut the fuck up. There's something I'm going to talk to Adam Goldberg about tomorrow. We'll see. But regardless, I don't know what the next thing is, but you got my word, man. You and your brother can be it.
Thank you.
Yeah, just be forewarned, Angelic. If you wonder what would he do with me and my brother, there's a Hull H scene in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and if you look 2 rows behind the lead characters, you'll see me. And so
that was you.
That's what he may do with you, is just stick you 2 rows back and have you looking down the gun of a camera, just terrified for your life.
Will's being nice. He didn't tell you about. There was also a casting couch scenario, which you will not have to deal with. But Will is undeniable. Just can't. It's a man that
All this man.
Yeah.
We good, Angelique?
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
Pleasure. Thank you for buying all that stuff. Look at all that crap.
You're welcome. I hope I filled your pockets a little bit.
You did. But more importantly, you just filled my heart. It means even.
You're welcome.